Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. How is everybody doing today? Hello, hello, hello. Excited to get on another stream with everyone. Good morning, or good day, depending on where you're from. I am hoping that we have no technical difficulties today. For anybody that was here yesterday, we had some computer issues, so hopefully I got it squared away. Hopefully we don't run into any of those issues today and we can have a nice stream. Take a look at New York Open and see what we got. I will give it some time to allow people to join. Good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? How is everybody's week going so far? Before we go into any analysis, I'll give time for people to join, and then we will take a look at the information. Hope everybody's week is going well. Yeah, what a shame yesterday. Computer crashes like, I don't know, it was like 15, 20 minutes into the stream, just to find out that I guess my graphics card needed to be updated or something. I'm not very technologically advanced. I'm not very good with computers. But my computer crashed. Then I tried restarting the computer, and then I kept getting this error message, basically saying that my CPU software, it wasn't running correctly. And when I would try to go into the software to see if I could make updates or needed to make updates to make sure it runs correctly, the software wasn't installed. So basically needed to do some installations and some updates. And then once I finally did that, a couple hours later, it's almost near lunchtime at this point. So I didn't start up the stream again. I just figured I'd wait for today and do another stream. Hopefully we don't run into any issues today. I believe I did all the updates that I needed to do. So yeah, sorry about yesterday, and right on to the next one. How is everybody doing today? If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you're wondering why you aren't able to communicate in the chat, it's because you haven't subscribed to the channel. So subscribe to the channel so we can communicate this morning. Like the video, and we will get into the information for New York Open shortly. Give it a couple more minutes to see if anybody else wants to join, and we will go from there. Good morning, good morning. Let's see who is in the chat. Let's see if we have some familiar faces here. I appreciate everybody joining today. Thank you once again for another live stream. Good morning, or good day. Good morning from Canada. Good morning from Morocco. Good morning from India. Good morning from Bangladesh and Lebanon. Good morning from Thailand. Good morning from Nigeria and New York. Good morning from Norway and Pakistan. Good morning from the Philippines and Georgia. Good morning from India, Malaysia, Morocco, the Dominican Republic. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's week is going well so far. Good morning from Greece and Morocco. Good morning from Sweden. Hello, hello. I hope everybody's week is going well so far. We have New York Open coming up shortly. So I'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll go into the analysis. That way everybody gets a chance to join the live stream. Hope everybody's week is going well so far. So as always, we always start the day on the economic calendar. So let's take a look. The process is never going to change. We have justifications to our actions for a reason, right? We know time is our most important element. Therefore, we will always make sure that we understand the important times of the day. We had unemployment claims at 8:30. You can clearly see the red folder, so we had a high impact news driver. And then at 10 a.m., we have PMI. Right, so for the individuals that have been joining the live session, for the individuals that have been watching my documentation, for the individuals that are in the Discord or following along on Twitter, they would know that I do not stand in front of a moving train. That means that I'm always waiting until after the high impact news drivers, right? So I'm in no rush this morning, let alone the fact that this week is non-farm payroll week, right? So the first week of every single month is non-farm payroll. Wednesday to Friday is lower probability. So for anybody that's studying ICT, you would know that ICT specifically states that if you are a beginner, if you are at a moderate level, you would know that if you are not an expert, which I don't think any of us are, that Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week is a time for no trades. It doesn't matter if your entry function is showing on the chart. It doesn't matter how you feel or what you want. It is a lower probability environment. Therefore, it's a simple business decision. It's a time to be patient. We will still go through the information. We will still go through questions and comments. But you need to understand that narrative is more important than just seeing a pattern on a screen. If you can't take a look at price through the perspective of probabilities, then you'll be sitting there wondering why your position is not playing out correctly. We can talk about probabilities, we can talk about narrative, and the more times that you guys keep showing up to these live streams, or the more time that you spend with me in Discord, you will see these different narratives. Thinking through the terms of probabilities is more important than obtaining some kind of short-term profit. It is more important than your emotions and how you feel. We are not retail. We are not just simply trading a pattern. We are understanding probabilities and placing ourselves within higher probability times. You will continue to hear these narratives if you spend more time with me in these live streams or in Discord. So again, if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you want access to the Discord is in the description of this bio. All you have to do is go to the link and join the Discord, or you can follow along on Twitter. I'm documenting every single week. Okay, so the current narrative for price would be that it's non-farm payroll week. We know that it's a lower probability time for price. Therefore, it's a simple business decision. Less is more. Quality over quantity. Okay? I'm going to take a sip of water, and then we are going to get into the information. All right, so the first thing that I was looking at this morning is oil, and let's take a look at oil. We always start with our higher time frame analysis. You can see that price is currently located at a daily bullish FVG. Therefore, understanding internal to external, we would be having a bullish bias, thinking that price is going to move from the internal, meaning FVG, to the external, meaning the swing high. Right, so we've created a bias, and now let's move to the hourly time frame. You can see the position already generated here, so I'm going to leave the daily FVG fill. This is where the daily FVG got filled. And now what do we see? We see high resistance liquidity on the bottom, right? The lows are being swept. After the lows are swept, we see displacement through a breaker block. With that displacement, we get an FVG. So this is currently what I'm looking at for oil. It is also nice to see equal highs, right? So if you know, you've been studying ICT, right? Equal highs act as a magnet. This is what I'll be looking at for oil today. Notice how it is the same process every single time. We are only looking at swing highs and swing lows. We are only using FVGs. We are looking for our entry function, which is a breaker block that has an FVG aligned with the breaker block that occurs after a stop hunt. Execution is always the same. You execute from the breaker block after all of the criteria is confirmed. Stop loss goes below the breaker block. We execute at or after the opening times. And we are looking for plus 2R. Right? And so you can see it here. For the people that can't see it, risk to reward, 2.23. Again, for anybody that was not here in the beginning of the stream, if you are wondering why you cannot communicate, it is because you have to subscribe to the channel. So if you would like to communicate with us in chat, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we will go over any questions or comments. Just got through our oil analysis. We will continue looking at other pairs. We're just taking it one at a time. All right, so now we've gotten our oil analysis. We will move over to indices. Take a look at that. Looks like people are asking about ES. So we will, instead of looking at NQ, we will look at ES. As always, the analysis starts on the daily. And what do you see? A daily FVG. If we have a daily FVG and price is currently located at the daily FVG, where would we be looking for price to go next? Price is currently located at a bullish daily FVG. We would be looking for price to move from an internal location to an external location. Okay, you've just created a bias. Let's move to the hourly to get our higher time frame areas of interest. If we have a bullish bias, what would be the areas of interest that you would want to look for? The areas of interest that you'd want to look for on an hourly are either FVGs or swing lows. Right? If we're bullish, we want to be longing below swing lows. You want to be looking for bullish FVGs. Right now, and you just watched me do it, I don't see any bullish FVGs, nor do I see any swing lows. Right? These are not swing lows. This is a swing low here. This is not a swing low. This is not a swing low. This is not a swing low. Neither are these. Right, so there's no higher time frame point of interest to generate the position. Yes, this is an order block. I personally don't use order blocks. I'm not saying that is the right or wrong thing to do. I'm letting you know what I do. If you choose to use an order block, that is okay. I'm just telling you what I do. Right, so since I don't see any higher time frame area of interest, going down to the 5 minute, right, there's the position needs to be generated from a higher time frame point of interest. If there's no higher time frame point of interest, then there you go. There's one of the criteria that you have not completed. If you have not completed all of your criteria, it just takes some simple discipline to know that there's no position to take. Right? And I clearly understand that this is why everybody's saying this. Everybody wants me to look at ES and look at this, right? The sweep of the lows and the displacement through the breaker block. Yes, it has an FVG. And it's nice to see that this is happening at midnight open. But where's the higher time frame point of interest? Right? Like, you have to have justifications to your actions. if this is a position that you would take, just understand that you're not using a higher time frame area of interest. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say what is right or wrong. I can sit here and publicly document how I trade. There are many, many other ways to trade. You are either profitable or not. There is no right or wrong. There's many different ways to trade, and there's many different ways to be profitable. What is most important is that you have justifications to your actions, no matter what you use. That way you understand how to execute. That way you know the how or the why. That way you know the cause and effect relationship. That way you're not just acting impulsively or emotionally. So we can take a look at NQ next. NQ is correlated with ES, so a lot of the information is going to be the same here. Right, you can see the daily FVG again. Same exact daily FVG. NQ does have a 1 hour FVG here. So it does have an hourly area of interest. We get the sweep of the lows at the opening time. And here's the breaker block. So you'd have to wait and see if there's an FVG aligned with the breaker block. So nothing to do there yet, but something to watch. Nothing to do there yet, but something to watch. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. And if you'd like to communicate, throw your question in the chat and we will go over it. The breaker is all of the consecutive. So when you have, yes, it is all the consecutive. You are correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. The breaker is the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. When you have consecutive closes in a row, you use the consecutive. Right, so this is the breaker block. You are correct. The breaker is the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. Notice I'm saying highest up closed. So I'm looking for closing price, right? It's not this one. That closing price. And if you need to know what the closing prices are, you can see it up here. Open, high, low, close. You need the highest up closed candle before, that's the other key here. The keys are highest up closed, so closing price. And then the other key is before the leg down that took liquidity, right? So this is the move up before the move down that took liquidity. So you need to find it in this leg here. When there is consecutive candles to the breaker block, see how there's up close, up close, up close, up close. When there are consecutive up closes, you use the consecutive. Yes, I treat oil the same as indices for opening time. I look to execute at or after the opening times. Correct, the breaker is not a good one because there is no displacement through it, along with an FEG being aligned with it. So this isn't even a breaker yet. That's why I erased the drawing. That's not, you can't consider that a breaker because we have not displaced through it, along with there being no FEG aligned with it. That is why I erased it. I'm pointing it out. This would be the breaker if there was one, but it has not been created yet. Understand what I'm saying here. People are asking if I execute before the opening time. You have to, everything that I'm saying it concise and for a reason. I specifically stated I execute at or after the opening time. So the opening time for indices is 9:30, right? So all of my criteria needs to be completed at or after 9:30. If all of my criteria was confirmed at 8 a.m., I would not touch it. Do I trade currencies? I don't focus on currencies. I do not like the spreads. Futures is what I focus on. That is why you guys always see me working with NQ and ES. NQ and ES is what I focus on. Right, and so here is the example, and this is why I left the markings on the screen. We did get displacement through the breaker block, and there was an FEG aligned with it. You see the difference there between ES and NQ? That is why you cannot call NQ a breaker block. It didn't displace through it. For anybody that's asking me if I'm trading, you've either joined late or you're not hearing what I'm saying. Wednesday to Friday is a no trade time during non-farm payroll weeks. Therefore, I will not be executing from Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll weeks. And I'm sure that a lot of the people here have been studying ICT, and that's probably why you're here, because I speak about ICT information. And that's directly where that comes from. ICT has specifically stated multiple times that Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week is lower probability. Therefore, it doesn't matter about what I want. It doesn't matter about how I feel. I'm telling you, my emotions do not control my actions. I'm telling you, probabilities do. Since I know it's a lower probability time, I will not be executing. It doesn't matter what happens in price. It doesn't matter if the breaker block works. It doesn't matter if oil works. Probabilities is what matters. Narrative is more important than a pattern on a screen. If the stop hunt occurs exactly at 9:30, is the setup valid? Yes, I have said it multiple times already this stream. I look to confirm my criteria at or after the opening times. Do I have a trade copier? No, I don't do trade copying. That does not align with my risk management. Again, I know there's a lot of other people that do. I know that there's a lot of other systems, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just not what I do. On the oil example, after determining bias on the daily, the model showed up on the 1 hour. Do we still need to go down to the 5 minute? This depends on the individual, right? So you have to understand that the model is fractal. You can see the model on a daily. You can see the model on an hourly. You can see the model on a 5 minute. You have to understand that 5 minute models are somebody that is looking to be in a position between 5 minutes to like an hour, maybe even a couple hours. Right? So somebody that's capable of managing and executing within one session is what a 5 minute model would look like. For somebody that has a 9-to-5 job that needs to swing trade, right? Somebody that is not capable of executing, somebody that's not able to be managing their position directly as it's occurring. They need to swing trade because they have responsibilities to take care of during the day. That person is going to look at an hourly model, because an hourly model will take a day, maybe even 2, to play out. It takes a lot more time to occur. So the answer is best answered by the individual and what that fits their daily life. If you're looking to be a swing trader, you would use the higher time frames. If you're looking to be a day trader, you would use the lower time frames. The criteria always remains the same. The justifications to your actions always remain the same. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab another sip of water. Alrighty, so we will get back to the conversation. Again, if anybody wants to communicate, has any questions, or wants to go over any information, just subscribe to the channel. That way you can communicate in the chat and like the video. If you need a more direct communication, I also have a Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of this video. I also document daily on Twitter, so you could follow along on Twitter as well. It is much easier for me to communicate in Discord, so if you are looking for a more direct communication, Discord would be the way to go. If you have any questions or have any comments, throw it in the chat and we will go over it. What broker can I use for futures? It depends on if you want to use a personal account or if you want to use a prop firm account. For my personal accounts, I have accounts on AMP and I have accounts on TD Ameritrade, which is now owned by Charles Schwab. For prop firms, I use My Funded Futures and TopStep. I have partner links in the Discord where if you sign up for My Funded Futures or TopStep, you can use my code and that will give you a discount on the purchase. when you say before or after opening time, I don't say before. I've said this many times and I'll continue to repeat myself. I do not execute before opening times. I execute at or after the opening times. There is no minimum or maximum. I start to confirm my criteria at or after the opening times. Wouldn't your bias be bearish for indices based on T-Trade's next day model? You would have to ask T-Trades that question because that is his model. That is not the way that I determine bias. So I would suggest you ask T-Trades that question. Why did I choose that particular candle for the BB on oil? The breaker block is the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. When there are consecutive up closes in a row, you use the consecutive. Right, so if this is the leg that took liquidity right here, because it swept this swing low, so it took liquidity, then we are looking for the highest up close before that. Right, so price changes direction right here. These two are the highest up close candles before the leg down that took liquidity. That is how you find the breaker block. Which time frame would you check the discount and premium array if you are to enter on the 5-minute? So if you can see, I use midnight opening price. Midnight opening price is something that I use to help determine discount or premium. You're supposed to be longing below the midnight opening price. You're supposed to be shorting above it. So in terms of premium or discount, discount is found below midnight opening price. Premium is found above midnight opening price. For the individuals that keep asking me what is the breaker block, I just suggest you either go through the resources section in my Discord, go through my documentation on Twitter, or listen to this video. I'm just repeating myself at this point. I literally just stated what the breaker block is, right? I'll say it one more time, and then I'm going to look to answer different questions. You're asking me why this is the breaker block. Somebody please tell me why this candle right here would be the breaker block. Candle that my cursor is currently on. Why did I highlight that candle as the breaker block? Why is this candle the breaker block? The breaker block is the highest up closed candle before the leg down that took liquidity. These two are not the breaker block. These are not the highest up closed. The closing price of this candle is higher than these two candles. Okay. And vice versa for short setups. Short setups would be the lowest down close candle before the leg up that took liquidity. Right. So now you're getting your answer to why I'm telling you that I don't participate during non-farm payroll week right? Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll. Lower probability. Notice how our breaker block, price did not show any respect to it. If you were the person that decided, oh, I don't care about probabilities, narrative doesn't mean anything to me, price is moving, so I want to execute. I see a breaker block, I'm going to execute. Well, you probably would have just got stopped out right here. And if you didn't get stopped out, you're not using risk management. This breaker block clearly didn't work. Why did it not work? Because of probabilities. Because understanding that narrative is more important than seeing a pattern on a screen. I do not execute Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week. That will not change. This is why. Price action is lower probability. Take a look at some of the other spots. Oil is still dealing with the breaker block. Hasn't decided what it wants to do. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. That way you can communicate in chat and we can go over any information or questions that you might have. If you follow ICT, you have gone through his information, you would know that he states Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week is a lower probability time. I'm sorry, for the individuals that keep asking me about the breaker block, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. Either go through the documentation, either rewatch this video, or go into the Discord and look at all the resources. You will have the answer to what the breaker block is. Either people are just not paying attention, maybe they're not going through the information and doing their own due diligence, but I keep answering the same question, so I'm sorry, there's no reason to repeat myself. You could just watch the video over, you can rewind the video, or you can go through any of the series that's on YouTube. I highly suggest becoming an independent thinker. This is something that we work on in the Discord a lot. Looking for signal services looking for handouts, it's the same thing as working a day job, right? Like if you have to go to somebody for answers, if you need to be told what to do, that's the same thing as working a job. And the majority of us are here for some form of freedom, right? Whether we want financial freedom, whether we want time freedom, or whether we want location freedom. We're trying to obtain this skill, right? So that we are capable of producing what we need or what we want on our own. The only way that you're going to do that is to build this muscle memory, is to be capable of completing this skill on your own. The way that you do that is becoming an independent thinker. The way that you become an independent thinker is putting the time in, going through the resources provided and learning, showing up to the market every single morning and executing, backtesting so much that you have undeniable proof that you have an edge in the market. All of these things are done by the individual. It's not done by somebody else. Nobody is ever going to press the buttons for you. There is no holy grail. The only way that you will achieve this is by building the muscle memory on your own. Right? So asking questions is fine. Going over information is completely acceptable. But looking for handouts, looking for signals, that's just going to lead you to the same place a 9-to-5 would lead you. Is needing a boss. Needing someone to answer all of your questions. I'll gladly continue to keep sharing. I will gladly continue to help as much as I can and provide as much value as possible. But I will always, always implement independent thinking. And that is why when I specifically say, I have a model, yes, but I'm not saying it is right or wrong. There are hundreds of different models out there. There are hundreds of different indicators out there. There's hundreds of different traders and styles. It is a matter of being profitable or not. There's no holy grail. So it's not, you can't sit here and say, this model is the best model. What creates the best model is the individual's mind. Being an independent thinker. This battle will always be you versus you. It doesn't matter if you use moving averages. It doesn't matter if you use the unicorn. It doesn't matter if you use ICT. It doesn't matter if you use retail trading patterns. What will create profitability is your ability to control your mind, your ability to control your actions, and your ability to control your thoughts. Implement correct risk management, show up with discipline, and allow probabilities to play out. Conviction will come through experience. The best form of experience is forward testing, right? Showing up to the market and being capable of identifying these concepts real time. That's the best option. Second best option is getting on FX replay and backtesting live data. Second best option, because you still are seeing price play out and you don't see what happens before it happens. The worst option is going like this. Just going to prior data, scrolling back like this, and trying to find a breaker block. Because you can see what happened, right? So you're giving yourself the answer before you receive it, and that's not what you get during live price. So pressing the replay button on TradingView is a very bad idea. either show up to live market action or go into FX replay and do the backtesting there. Conviction comes through experience. You gain experience by showing up every single day. All right, so once again, I will continue to tell you that I do not trade Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week. I'll look at price again because of what's happening. And I'm even hesitant to do this because I know that no matter what I say, people will still take a position. Right? So our daily bias was bullish because of the bullish daily FVG. The hourly on NQ has an area of interest because of the hourly FVG. Now, understanding the important times, since we have allowed the news to play out, right? 10 a.m. we had the high impact news driver. Now, after the news, because we only participate after the news, you can see that we have a breaker block with an FVG aligned with it. FVG has not been confirmed yet because we need this candle to close, right? But you can see we're getting the setup. It's starting to be created. Notice how narrative is more important. Notice how anybody that took a position before the news got wrecked. I specifically state every time we look at the Forex Factory calendar that we do not stand in front of a moving train. So we'll see if the rest of the criteria gets confirmed here. While we wait, I am going to grab another sip of water. So give me 2 seconds. All right, let's see what we have here. Get over to you again. See if we have any confirmation coming up. All right, so there's your confirmation there. You've waited until after the news. Position would look like right. Always aiming for 2 to 1 R. And you just sit and wait. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you're wondering why you cannot communicate, it's because you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. We do this every single week. We have educational content that comes out every single week. We are documenting daily, both in Discord and on Twitter. So for anybody that's looking for additional information, trying to understand the model or have resources for the model or have any kind of direct communication with me, you will find that in the Discord. The Discord is in the link to this description of this video. I focus on the New York Open. I focus on indices. I am a futures trader for New York Open. I focus on my model. I do not trade any other model. I implement the unicorn model. If you haven't already, I have an entire playlist on YouTube. So for anybody that's asking what that is, you can see every single concept shown in the videos that I created on YouTube, or you could follow along on Twitter. I document the model daily. All of the concepts are defined, and there is also a PDF for an interactive way for people to learn the model. The PDF is, again, either on this YouTube, in the Discord, or on the Twitter. It is readily available for anybody that needs a checklist for a model. I hope everybody's day is going well. I hope everybody's week is going well. If you have any questions or any comments, you can throw it in the chat and we will go over them. Is this live on a funded account? Is what live on a funded account? You have to be more specific with your questions. As discussed yesterday, please show us how to calculate lot size. So in the Discord, there is a ticker value section. It will show you the value and the lot size for each of the futures. Just have to hop in the Discord and grab that sheet. Why is stop loss below the breaker? Stop loss always goes below the breaker. Here are the three selections for your stop loss. Ready? The bottom of the breaker is for the most experienced individual, which is nobody in this chat. This is like an ICT stop loss. It goes right at the bottom of the breaker. For somebody that has a little bit of experience, moderate experience, it goes here. For somebody that has no experience at all, it goes at the swing low. The swing low is the last option. So which one are you? Where would you place your stop loss? You have three options, either at the swing low, a couple points below the breaker, or at the bottom of the breaker. Same thing goes for a short. If you have a long wick, do you incorporate that into the breaker? The entire candle is the breaker, whether it has a wick or not. So you're asking if this trade is live on a funded account. I'm not sure if you were here during any part of the stream, but I've specifically stated Wednesday to Friday of non-farm payroll week, I do not participate. May you tell us how does experience help the placement of the stop loss? Yeah, if you're less experienced, you will be less accurate with your entries. Therefore, you need to give yourself breathing room for the position to play out. For somebody that is very experienced, they will have the capability of being more accurate with their entries, which would allow them to have that tighter stop loss. Do I trade live account and live streams though? That is for the premium group. I do not trade publicly. For individuals that want to see my live trades, the information is shown in the Discord. I see that you mostly use FEGs, swing highs and swing lows, for external to internal. Do you consider consequent encroachment, for an example of daily CE, to be a PD array? Yes. Consequent encroachment is part of a FEG. If it is part of an FEG, then that is what I use. I use FEGs and swing highs and swing lows. Hi Ash, I thought you use 15-minute to look for the setup since it's a daily FEG. You have to understand time frame alignment. The daily chart is directly linked with the 1 hour chart. The 1 hour chart is directly linked with the 5-minute chart. Using this time frame alignment, you would get your bias from the daily, you'd get your higher time frame area of interest from the hourly, and you would execute on the 5-minute chart. You have to understand time frame alignment. There are other time frame alignments. That resource is also showed in the Discord. So we have been on here for about an hour and a half. So I am going to begin to wrap it up. If you have any other questions or comments, please put it in the chat and we will wrap it up with a few more questions or comments. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you are looking for a more direct form of communication, join the Discord, and that is where you'll get a more direct line of communication. That is where I'm capable of communicating the most. Twitter is, there's too much traffic on Twitter, so it's hard for me to clearly communicate on Twitter. I mostly use it as a public documentation. When Dixie is in consolidation, I stay away from EU and GU and look at the exotics. That is correct. When Dixie is in consolidation, the majors will be lower probability. How do you define your areas of interest? I use FVGs and swing highs and swing lows. Entry for this strategy can also be inside the breaker. I enter at the beginning of the breaker, and you can see where I put the stop loss. With your first funded account, did you trade minis or micros? Micros is where everybody should be learning. Minis is too much risk. I highly suggest that you understand risk because your emotions will be deterred by it. If you are too large in size, you are not going to be executing properly. It is a matter of being more patient and submitting to time. Yes, it would take more time to pass a funded challenge. But that's the point. Is do not allow any of the restraints that are put on you by a prop firm to change your executions. Your risk should always be the same. Your execution should always be the same. Limits by a prop firm to pass their challenge should not deter your execution. Ideal risk, I always risk 1% or less of the account size. Thank you everybody for joining. I really appreciate everyone being here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. I will be heading over to the Discord as I'm going to wrap up this live stream now. I hope everybody has a great week. Be ready for next week live stream as we do this weekly. I also have educational content that comes out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You will see that on the YouTube. Other than that, I will be in the Discord, so if any of your questions or comments have not been answered yet, bring them to the Discord and we will continue going over the information. I really appreciate everyone being here. Thank you again, and I hope everybody has a great day.